My Hero Academia, one of the world's most popular anime, had finished the first half of its 6th season. And the question is, did it live up to the hype of the previous season? With a lack of screen time and development for some fan favorite characters, and a plot that seems like it's never going to end, one has to ask, where could the show possibly go from here? And is the show running out of steam, or is it just getting started? My review and my thoughts on that from this particular part of the series, and why I think it all works together so well. And sometimes it's a little frustrating and formulaic in that, the bad guy, he goes away, he powers up, then he comes back. They fight, and then the bad guys go away, they power up, and they come back. And sometimes it can be interesting in that, you think, oh my gosh, is this ever going to end? Shigaraki's been around from the beginning. Can't we just kill this dude already? And it all depends on the writing and how you do it. And because the stakes keep getting bigger and the character dynamics keep changing, they're able to keep the show so interesting episodes in. So let's talk about my favorite characters and my favorite moments from this series. Now, in season 6, Midoriya takes a bit of a backseat, especially in the beginning. Narratively, they have him assigned to keep backup, and then they focus on the fight that's going on in the front, and then he comes more into the focus later on. And in terms of character progress, it was actually, in terms of a lead character, I would say the minimum effective dose in this season. There are other arcs that have given way more character development for Midoriya, but that's okay, because that doesn't mean that this was a bad arc. It just means that they have to do right by a bunch of different characters, and it's just in this particular arc, Midoriya doesn't have as much, but what he does have is super significant. Dude's gonna have to get new arms. Okay, let's be real. They said he could only break his arms and use 100% twice, and he does it on every limb in this one, I think. And it's dude, how are they gonna keep him being able to move in this series? The dude's gonna have to get a regeneration quirk at this point in order to keep, at the rate at which Shigaraki keeps developing and getting stronger and coming back, Midoriya's gonna have to seriously level up. He's gonna need to get some regeneration powers or something in order to keep going all out with all one for all and fighting Shigaraki, especially at the rate in which he's going. How the heck is Midoriya supposed to keep his arms at this rate? I don't know, but it's super interesting, and I'm really, really happy with what I saw with him in this one. Next character is Best Jeanist. I forgot he died. I forgot, okay? It's 124 episodes. I'm not going to remember everything, especially when it was just a little bit on the side. And so, really, I really enjoyed that surprise. Dude just flew in out of nowhere, and that was a lot of fun for me. And I was like, wait, Sam, oh, he's supposed to be dead. I'm supposed to be surprised. Oh, I'm surprised. All right, this is great. And so sometimes you have to remember what happened, and then you get surprised. And so I really enjoyed seeing Best Jeanist powers on full display here. I never thought that it never occurred to me that he could be that strong and do that much with Thread to control, all of that steel wire and bind that massive guy down. I don't know what his name is. I don't know what anybody's name is, but really, really great seeing him show up, and I'm so happy that he's still around, because I was kind of sad that he was dead, now that I remember. But the next character that I really enjoyed was her. I forget her name. Hey, I forget English names. Think I'm going to remember Japanese names? Not a chance. That's why there's a picture there, so that you know who I'm talking about. And this is another example of minimum effective dose. She's more of a mid character, but I do like the fact that she also has a crush on Midoriya, which doesn't make any sense because she kind of sort of has to fight him and kill him, or he wants to. She's obviously crazy. How does she expect Midoriya to like her back when she's doing what she's doing? And her fight with Uraka this series was really, really cool. It's nice to see Uraka level up as well. Although I will say, I'm kind of getting impatient for Midoriya and Uraka. I think, can we have some romance now? Can we move that along? please. Like, I'm kind of a sucker for well-told romance stories, and it is a good romance. I just feel like maybe in the next season when they're recovering, could they, like, get closer or something? I don't know. I feel like the romance needs to move on, and if we can make this character part of that love triangle, I mean, I don't think Midoriya would ever accept her, but make her angry that they're getting together and make that a little fight scene or something. That would be really cool for me. But yeah, I enjoyed her arc and the questions that she asks and has to get. And this show does a really good job of asking like important moral questions without getting bogged down by the weight of those questions. It's still incredibly fun. Where the heck was this guy? I didn't see him the entire time. I'm sure he was with their class when they tried to take down the giant. I didn't see him. Maybe he got buried in the mud or something, but if you saw this guy, let me know, because I feel like at this point he must have turned into a villain and joined the other side, because I didn't see him at all. Shigaraki, really, really enjoying what they're doing with him. They're really bringing his role into a head, and it's very, very fascinating how they keep building up his role, and his relationships to One for All and All for One are really, really fascinating. He wants to take both powers, but I'm starting to think, what if both powers can't actually coexist together? I'm not an expert on quirks, but maybe that might be something that prevents him doing that in the future. But I really, really am digging his backstory and all of the emotions that come with that. And honestly, the dude is getting so freakishly powerful. I feel like the heroes are going to need to get some sort of massive level up in order to compete with him next time. Because again, Midoriya is breaking his arms left and right. The guy needs a healing power at this point. And so I think we can expect to see a lot of the heroes undergo, like, during their recovery from this battle, a lot of leveling up, because there's no way they can beat him at full form right now. Endeavor almost freaking died. And so, yeah, he's a compelling villain, to be sure. And speaking of Endeavor, probably the best redemption arc that I've ever seen in anime. If you've seen better ones, let me know down below. But I've never seen a better one. This is brilliant. In the first, 2 to 3 seasons, he was kind of just that dude that pissed everybody off, and he was just there to intimidate the other characters and give them something to avoid and make you nervous for them and stuff. But holy heck, his family life and all of the drama that's going on with Todoroki and him really, really loving this redemption arc. He's actually a character that I'm actually cheering for the most, despite the fact that he was a massive douche in the past. Somehow the writers, they've been able to bring this all around to me actually cheering for him to become a better person and be the number one hero. So well done to them for that. And oh my gosh, Hawks. Really loved Hawks in this episode. And spoiler alert, the dude killed twice, which I was actually very happy that they did that. No, I wasn't happy that twice died per se, although it makes sense given that there's so many characters in this show. You can't possibly just keep them all around forever, because at some point they have to die, because one, you have to keep the stakes high, and two, you have to make room for other characters that need to have development in order to make the climaxes really, really meaningful. And so also Hawks did the rational thing, not the nice thing, not the emotional thing. He did the rational thing, because if Twice was allowed to live, he could have multiplied into an army of 1,000 and killed all of the heroes. And so I always hated it in movies and superhero shows and TV shows where the good guy gets the bad guy in the corner, and instead of offing him, which is the smart thing to do because he's a murderer, they sit there and they listen to his sob story about how, oh, the world's unfair to me, or they try to talk him down, or they try to have compassion for him. They try to turn him into a good guy. When, if you did that in real life, dude would be like, psych, he gets up and goes kills more people. I would say that you're liable for the innocents if you don't put the murderer down. But you know he's a murderer. You know he's killing a bunch of people. And then when you finally have a chance to stop him, you want to freaking talk to the guy? And I understand Hawks did do that. But in the end, when all options were exhausted, he did what he had to do. He offed the bad guy in order to save not only his friends, but everyone else that bad guy that twice would have threatened had he multiplied that much. And so kudos for Hawks. I hope his wings grow back. I hope that he comes back and becomes even more of a main character, because I really, really like him so far, and I'd be sad if he was out of commission. Speaking of characters that I really, really like, but didn't get to see a lot of this season, I was kind of not let down, but I missed him. I missed Todoroki this season. I love him so much. I think he might be he's probably close to my favorite. It's between him and Bakugo, I think. And the fact that he was basically not in this at all for like the first half is understandable, because narratively, you can only do so much with all of these characters. But also, we got a lot of him last season, but man, what we did get from him here, the dude just absolutely keeps on stepping up. He killed it in this season. He absolutely leveled up, and he's got some really, really big and deep emotional family issues to sort out. We'll get to that in a second. Between him and his Endeavor and somebody else that we're going to talk about in just a minute. Wow, I hope we get a lot of him in the next half of this season, because he's my favorite, and I want more of him. I know you have to focus on other characters, but I want Todoroki. So, who's that? One for All. I always get One for All and All for One mixed up. I'm like, wait, which one is it? Don't worry about that. My goodness, this guy is a great villain, in that it's like the minimum effective dose. He's basically not here a lot. I don't know if we've seen his face, but he was here in season 3. He took down All Might, and now he's back a little bit. Metaphorically, he's still trapped in a prison. They didn't really explain how he gets to Shigaraki through his mind. I think it has something to do with the quirk connection, but his dynamic with Shigaraki is really, really cool, and I really enjoyed that. And I'm really, really curious to see if it's going to be like a House Divided type thing, where Shigaraki is actually going to try to fight One for All in order to, or All for One, I should say, in order to get his own power, or maybe Shigaraki would become disillusioned and maybe turn coat a little bit. I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of opportunity for some really, really fascinating drama, and I can't wait to see that. Best part of the series for me, second best part of the series, was when Nero showed up. My goodness, I love him so much. I was so sad when he didn't have powers, and I was thinking to myself, aw, I'm not going to see him again? That makes me upset. And then he just shows up out of nowhere in this one. And then they give you some backstory as to how it happened. I was so happy. Just yes. Yes, yes, yes. In every way, just yes. Really love this character, and hope to see him back in action even more in the coming one. Because he wasn't injured that much, so I feel like he might have a lot to do in the second half of the season while the other characters are busy recovering. Bunny Girl, don't know her actual name, but anyone else gets insecure about their when watching that episode where she does all of those things to those bad guys and all of those kicks? At this point, I just want to go do a massive leg workout and not stop, because wow, what a first entrance for a character. I don't think I've seen her in action much at all. But yeah, broken arm and everything, still kept on going. Yeah, that was really, really cool. Hopefully she recovers and we can see more of her, because those leg kicks or something. All right, this is where things just blew my mind. Okay, I was casually enjoying the show. I was eating, and then when he said, spoiler alert, go away if you haven't seen it, he said he's Endeavor's son. I was like, oh, yes, Endeavor's son. What? Are you kidding me? How did I not see that coming? It's like, well, the hair wasn't white, but like, I feel like that was so out of left field, and yet it works so well. It doesn't feel wrong. It's just so surprising. I feel like the writer didn't plan on that at first, and then he was like, how can I make this more interesting? Oh, I can make him Endeavor's son. Okay, let's do that. And it works. I don't care how it happened, it works. A lot of times when you have massive twists like this, it can ruin the flow of the show, but in this case, it just works. It actually just elevates the show to a new level, because honestly, up until that point, I was kind of like, yeah, this is cool. This is cool. I think other seasons have been better, but season 6 is cool. And then that happened, and I was like, oh my god. The last few episodes were absolutely killer. Just killed it across the board. Killed it. Not even gonna lie. And let's talk about Twice really quick. Kind of a mid-tier character. He's not a main character. He's not a background character. He's important, but I think it was time for him to go. I don't know much else what they could have done with his character. They could have done anything they wanted, but again, that's one of the things where you have to keep the stakes high. If characters never die, then it's kind of like, okay, another battle, they're going to get injured, they're going to get better. Keeping the stakes real is really, really important, especially for a show like this one where it's going on forever and ever. That is important. But also that it just keeps on creating those moral dilemmas. I really, really like the part of the season where it talks about the hero's point of view and how, they have to protect people, and like, whose fault is it that people die? Is it the villain's fault for doing what they do and the heroes have to kill them? And, everybody has that different perspective, and I really enjoyed how this series is exploring that, but not in too much of a heavy way. More like a fun way. Like, it's a very fun show, but it still means something, and there's still impact, and it still gives you just enough to make you sit back and go, how does that work? How do I feel about this? And so, Twice is gone, and I think they should leave him dead. I don't think they should revive him. I think that was a meaningful death, well executed. It added a lot of more dilemma to the show and really moved a lot of characters' arcs forward. And he was fun. He will be missed, but it's also important to keep those things progressing and the different rosters rotating so that the show stays interesting. And so, yeah, I don't think I'll miss him, but I was surprised that he died, honestly. I felt like, all the main characters are going to live, and, it's just people are going to die in the background. But the show keeps on leveling up. It keeps showing up and saying, no, we're being serious here. And so mad props to the writers of My Hero for that. This is just the best. I would say this is one of the best moment of the show. How do you get more awesome, more committed, more disciplined, more super amazing than Eraser? Dude, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen season 6, dude sliced his own leg off without a second's hesitation in order to stop himself from losing his power. Just mind-blowing. And I think that's where season 6 is actually leveling up all of the other ones. The show is actually getting more intense, because I can't think of, mostly it's like Midoriya hurts himself, but he always gets recovered. I haven't seen any main characters other than All Might losing his powers get severely maimed like this. There's been a couple, but not like mainstay characters like Eraserhead. And wow, dude is an absolute killer. And I hope he's not gone. Obviously, he still has his powers, but he's going to be having to hop around on crutches. Maybe he'll get a robotic leg. But I think that moment for me, where he cut his own leg off, that was the moment where it was like, oh, they're for real. They're for real. This is a war arc. They're not playing around. And I appreciate that, because I don't like it when they play around. Speaking of people who don't play around, Bakugo continues to impress and just be an all-around great character. What can I say? The dude continues to level up. He's just great. He's just great to be around. And he got seriously injured too, and yet he kept on fighting. It's just, all of these characters, they just make me want to go to the gym, and bench 500 pounds. I want to work out and become as strong as Bakugo because dude is insane. Dude's insane, but like in a really, really good and fun, entertaining way. So that's the characters down for My Hero Academia. Animation is on point. You know, they really, really did a good job with that. And the biggest surprise for me, I think the top two was Eraser cutting off his leg, and the top one was Dabi becoming revealing that he was actually Endeavor's son. And in terms of satisfaction level of the show, I would say season 6 was hugely satisfactory for me. From all of the surprises, all of the twists, all of the reveals, I seriously enjoyed the heck out of this show. And back now down to the main thing is that, yes, the show is very long and the plot is, quote, slow sometimes, but you have to understand that there's so many characters, you can't just do justice by all of them all at once. You have to layering, and I think this show is actually a masterclass in how to do that, how to slowly level up and upgrade all of these different characters over a narrative that actually make sense. And so yes, this is kind of slower compared to other shows like, say, Chainsaw Man, but Chainsaw Man doesn't have as many characters. And so the amount of characters will dictate how long and how fast the arc can move, because if all of the characters are in play, well, you have to write an arc that affects all of the characters in a way that's actually meaningful and keeps the audience engaged. And there's different kinds of fights in, you know, the sphere of anime. There's big fights that take like multiple episodes, and then there's like really super fast and punchy fights. My Hero Academia is one of those shows where a single fight is not just a few characters. It's like 5 or 10. Like the final fight has like 10 different characters involved, and it's always switching back and forth between who has the upper hand, and it's super engaging, and it's hard to do. Like, that's not easy to do, and this show just pulls it off so well. Did you think I was going to dislike this show? I know the intro was a little questionable. Like, did you actually think I was going to dislike it? No. This is great. This was absolutely great. Season 6, for the win. Absolutely loved it. My only question now, you know, one, the commitment that these characters have is like David Goggins level commitment. Like, that's some real hardcore discipline going on in this show. But the main thing for me now is, My Hero Academia has always, as far as I can remember, has followed the format of there's a very serious arc, lighthearted arc, serious arc, lighthearted arc. So I think they changed it a little bit, but there's like a big battle arc, and then there's more of like a school life arc. And now I'm interested, is there going to be is the last half of season 6 going to be a slow arc? More like a music festival, or just them recovering? Or is it going to be more battles? Like, what are the stakes going to be in the last half? I'm kind of rooting for them to go hardcore again, just have a full, solid hardcore season. But the formula works so well, I wouldn't want them to break it, right? If it doesn't work. And so I'm super satisfied. I'm super happy. If you're not watching My Hero Academia, the heck are you doing with your life? I don't know. The show is great. Show is